Okay, so Bismillah, where is the document? We were working on Surah TaHa. So if we go back, quick overview. I'm not going to repeat it. It's in the previous video, but I just want to explain what took us in this journey. In Surah TaHa, verse 20, it says, 19 and 20. In 19, it says, قَالَ أَلْقِهَا يَا مُوسَى. It said, deliver it, or Musa. Or usually in other translations, they put cast it or throw it, Musa. فألقاها فإذا هي حية تسعى. So he delivered it, and then it became, and they say, a moving serpent. And that's what I said. It can't be a serpent because when I digged into the dictionary, it doesn't say serpent. And then if you look at Surah Al-Shu'ara, where it tells you the same story, فألقى عصاه موسى فإذا هي ثعبان مبين. That's really where my questions started. Like, okay, they are translating them both serpent, but we see like hayya and ثعبان are not the same. And I never stopped here until I started TaHa, and I never thought in my life that TaHa is going to take me that long. It just happened to be as we are doing the surah. So it just reminds me about 2 years ago when I was working on Beni Israel, I found myself discovering that Nisa is not the plural of woman. So that happens. And this what I call an energy flow or information flow coming because of the collective or because we are working on the surah and we were guided to the truth in a way. So if you look at the dictionary, you're going to find tha'ban has the root word thab, which means imtidad. It's like basically it says extension and spreading of something. Has nothing to do with snake if you go back to the dictionary. And hay, it says khilaf al-maut. So it means it's the opposite of death. Also has nothing to do with serpent. So where are they coming with the word serpent? So that was really the question that I had. And I told all of you, let's go into that journey of discovering the truth. So what comes to my mind that I wanted to share with you now, it just came to me as an analogy yesterday. A child at the age of 3 or 4 in the Arabic culture, we call water mai. So the child is saying mai, 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 because that's what he believes, water is mai. But he goes to school and it's in English, so they call it water. So now the child is discovering a different word for water. I think because we got so accustomed or programmed on the idea of Hayya and Thu'ban as a snake for over 1,000 years, we kept believing it is a snake. Just like the kids believe the only word for water is mai. Because I do recall when my kids were young and they come to me and they say, it's not mai, it's water now. So they're getting the new meaning. So it's going to take you a little time to realize how much you're going to find in the story. The entire story of Musa is a fabrication by the same people. It's basically we are copying the Talmud. So if you go to the Talmud, what they call in the Arabic also the Kitab al-Muqaddas, the holy book that they follow, the people of the book in a way, that's what we've been following. So the last 2 weeks when I have been working on TaHa and trying to stop at every word, I realized like it's a totally different word. And why we were blind about it is just like, again, just like a child who grew up learning this is what it means and never wanted to know anything else until he's exposed like, oh no, that's not this only. So we'll continue in TaHa. I got to this verse number 39 where I said, okay, we have the word اقذفيه, okay, which is, let me look here why it's not in red. I'm trying to make it red. Insert or draw. Why it's not letting me putting it in red. That's fine. I can work with. They say اقذفيه is also cast. And it's not, because I remember I made for you all the vocab of this verse. So I questioned this word, I questioned tabut, I questioned aliyam, and I made for you a list of these words, okay, in the Arabic language. And you have that in the previous video. So there is a slight difference between each one in the Quranic language. I should not even say in the Arabic language, in the Quranic language. And that's where we left off last week, before the break. And I also wanted to show you a tabut in Surah TaHa and a tabut in Al-Baqarah. And I think I left you with that question. So how many of you tried to find what a tabut means? Or if you came to an inspiration. I had only one student who emailed me, not two, one emailed me and one texted me what the tabut could mean to them. Do you have any idea? Did you come up with any idea or no? Huh? Oh, you didn't get a chance to. No answer? Nobody is going to say something? We don't have Farzana here today that usually answers. I see Brother Khor. You have any idea what this tabut means? It's definitely not a box. Okay. So.
No, but I'm listening. I'm listening for the answer.
Okay. So this tabut, if you just try to look at the ayah number 247 in Al-Baqarah, it's bringing the word tabut in this ayah, and you can deduce from the meaning of the verse. It says about this talut was given knowledge, okay? And usually, what is the knowledge you get from Allah, except the spiritual knowledge or the knowledge of the reality in a way? And it ended, and I always says, look at how the ayah ends. It gives you an idea. And it ended with Allah wasi'un alim, okay? So that is the beginning of the hint. What is a tabut? And now it says, 248, it says, وَقَالَ لَهُمْ نَبِيُّهُمْ. So their prophet has told them that the sign of his ownership or of his kingdom, that the malaika, okay, يَأْتِيَكُمُ التَّابُوتِ, okay, the tabut will approach you, فِيهِ سَكِينَةٌ, okay, tranquility. Now, I never heard of a box that gives you sakina. Any box, doesn't matter, even if it's a gold box, you put it next to you, but it's not going to give anything to your heart. Maybe satisfaction that you become rich if you have a golden box. But the tranquility only comes when you reach the meaning or understanding of life. And it usually comes from the spirituality. That's what sakina comes from. Min rabbikum. It's this sakina, tranquility comes from your Rabb. So the only thing that can come from your Rabb is the spirituality, is the reality, is the understanding of life. So it's basically, it is connected to the knowledge, because wallahu wasi'un alim. And then it says, it gives you the definition of the tabut as well here. It says, وَبَقِيَّةُ مِمَّا تَرَكَ آلُ مُوسَى وَآلُ هَارُونَ تَحْمِلُهُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. So the malaika, they usually carry what? Carry information, they carry the blueprint, and they carry the information, they carry something from Allah. So this malaika are the ones who are going to carry this tabut. So tabut is basically the information or the knowledge of something. And here the something is what was done and left by Ali Musa or Ali Harun. So it's like the information and the knowledge left from Musa and Harun. You can call it it's the Ten Commandments, or you can call it it's the true history that had happened to Musa. I don't know. But all I know is the tabut is basically the container, not the physical container. It is the information containing the knowledge that was left by Musa and Harun, which is basically the knowledge that was also carried by the Malaika. So that's really what I thought is the meaning of tabut. And now we're going to get into understand the rest of the area if you guys have no comments about that conclusion of the tabut.
I just want to say that it seems to fit the definition of what Quorum said last couple weeks ago, of it being the Ark of the Covenant, which is supposed to have the Ten Commandments in it, along with some other powers.
Exactly. So you see, like, if we start to stop and dig at every word, we will get to the truth. But if we go by what they told us, then we are not going to find anything. And that's where the key is, like, stop at every word. Thank you, Nasri. So now, what I wanted to focus on is, so we saw what tabut means, we understand it. We know iqdi is convey this here. Who is he here? Is basically Musa. So this ayah here will not be clear to you until we go back and try to understand the story from the beginning. So why? Because if you look here, it does not say أن اقذفيه في التابوت فاقذفيه في اليم. It only came after this ayah. إذ أوحينا إلى أمك ما يوحى. So we have inspired your mother. What is inspired? So this is the question now. What was inspired? This here is basically a summary, because Surah TaHa is a summary. The meaning of the details of what was inspired is in Surah Al-Qasas. So I wanted to take you there first. And we learn from Surah Al-Qasas, and then I come back here. Does that make sense to you? So let's look for Surah Al-Qasas. It says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Surah Al-Qasas, and you're going to start to find the truth in the surah slowly. It started with Ta, Sin, Mim. I promise you at the end of this year, I will explain all these words. Ta, Sin, Mim, Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad, TaHa. I'll explain all of them by the end of the year. So I leave that for now. تلك آيات الكتاب المبين. So this kitab is a clarifying book. So the book is already clarifying. So the truth is in the book. You don't need to get outside the book. All you can go outside the book is the dictionary. Because it says, Netlu alayka. Okay, we narrate to you from Naba'i Musa, the news of Musa, wa Fir'aun, bil haq, by the truth. So it's going to give you all the truth in this book. لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. So why it says لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ? When you are safe and secure, in my opinion, because like that's what I read into it, لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. When you're safe and secure and you have faith before you have it in anyone, you have it in yourself, that I am not going to follow the crowd. Let me find the truth from here. I have faith in the information that's here. I don't have faith in the information that's inherited, because it goes the faith of the Aba. So let's focus on what's in the Qur'an. Inna Fir'aun, it's starting the story. Why we have Musa. Inna Fir'aun ala fil ard. It started with Fir'aun who went high on earth and made its people into parties. So he was like what we see now. The West is trying to divide the Muslim world into small parties against each other so that, you know, what we have in Arabic saying, فَقِقْ تَسُد. When you divide others, you're going to win. So he divided people and he made them into parties. And what does he do? يَسْتَضْعِفُ طَائِفَةً, weakening a group of them. What does he do? يُذَبِّحُ أَبْنَاءَهُم. And I explained literally the word ذَبَّحَ in the story of Ibrahim. He was not asked to slaughter his son, but it's a metaphoric for like my son has no time for himself. I'm going to use him for my journey, for my goal. So when Ibrahim was taking his son to build with him the Kaaba, he started to daily see in his dreams, he's slaughtering him. It's a metaphoric for this kid has no life except my journey. So that's what Pharaoh was doing. He was taking lives of others and weakening them by just live in his purpose, what he wants, which you see it now. We are all slaves to some corporate and nobody is able to live for himself or be free to have a journey. وَيَسْتَحِي نِسَاءَهُمْ. So he leaves those who are less advantaged, like he doesn't need them. He likes the smart ones, he likes the built ones, he likes those who, abna. Abna comes from they are already built, they, you know, they're good to use. So he enslaved them. إِنَّهُ كَانَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. He was really among the corrupt ones. وَنُرِيدُ. So what's the purpose? We want. So you see here, there is nuridu. We want. So this is a project of Allah and His Malaika, the LCS. So the larger consciousness system, which is made by Allah and His upper Malaika, we have now a project. What is the project? أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. So we can see those who were weakened on the earth, we wanted to bestow a favor on them. Okay? وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً. And we're going to make them leaders. وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ الْوَارِثِينَ. They will inherit. So you can see also now in our time, but there are some that they have project on earth in Middle East. We want to have this project, you know. They wanted to make this and make that. These are things that men can decide. But the upper is the LCS, Allah and Malaikatuhu, they know what they're doing. Okay, so they wanted to make leaders. To make leaders, they have to go through testing, and we're going to see how. But we'll continue on Pharaoh. He says on what Allah wants in that project of Musa and Pharaoh. It says, وَنُمَكِّنَ لَهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. So we will enable for them on the earth. وَنُرِي. And we want to show whom? Pharaoh wa Haman. So it's not only Pharaoh. He has a helper, Haman. And he has soldiers that are following him. So he's not by himself. So you can never make a corrupt one, a corrupt leader, unless you have followers that are following this corrupt one. منهم ما كانوا يحذرون. So نُرِي فِرْعَوْنَ وَهَامَانَ وَجُنُودُهُمَا مِنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَحْذَرُونَ. There is a key word here in red, that's why I put it. What is يحذر? Is to be cautious of. Now, in real time, you can see, for example, we have two parties. And the party that's winning and is in control now, they're always worried about the other party. And they're always worried about someone who comes and does a revolution against them. So they're always working hard to maintain the control. And that's what the ayah here, it says, مِمَّا كَانُوا يَحْذَرُونَ, what they were cautious of. So it's not only Pharaoh, the whole crowd, the leader and his followers, his supporters, the entire party, whether it's the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. So name it here, a Republican Party, whatever you want to name it. I'm just giving you the metaphor as I see it in the verse. I don't believe in the story that they said Pharaoh saw a dream and blah, blah, blah. The Quran could have said that. That's a made up story in the Talmud. We are not here going to follow any story, whether it's in Talmud or Bukhari or Muslim. I'm trying to just follow the Quran. But the Quran is hinting to me that they were worried, they were cautious of an opposition. Okay? But the Quran is saying, but we will show them what they were worried about is going to come. So now this is the first part of the surah. This was just the introduction. So we'll get now to the story. وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ مُوسَى. That's why I took you to this surah. We wanted to know what we inspired Musa. أَنْ أَرْضِعِيهِ. أَرْضِعِيهِ, it's not nurse, but it's nurture. Because like it's nurturing while you're nursing and feeding and taking care of a person, raising the person. أَنِرْضِعِيهِ. But then it says فَإِذَا. إذا in the Arabic language, we say adat shartiya, like only when. So it's not like she just nursed him a little, then she put him in a box. That story, which has just put it on the side. It says, but when, only when you fear for him. So basically now we can start to see she's nurturing this child. And now the child is basically started to be exposed and they started to see he could be a good asset where they take him to weaken him. So it says, فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ, what to do? فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ. ألقيه, remember we said ألقيه is deliver him. Into what? اليم. اليم, it's not a sea. They told us it's a sea. So I went to look at the yam in the dictionary. It says a purpose. So basically what they're telling her, do your job as a mother, nurture him, and then when you start to have fear for him, just deliver him to the purpose that he has. And we're going to start to see how the story comes together. So what was his purpose? He's going to come. وَلَا تَخَافِي, but in a way, don't have any fears. وَلَا تَحْزَنِي, because the grief is in the separation. She's going to be separated from him. إِنَّا رَدُّوهُ إِلَيْكِ, we're going to return him to you, and we're going to make him of the messengers, مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. So she got this inspiration, and Musa is from the family of Al-Imran, the Al-Imran that we studied about them in Surah Maryam. Okay, historically, Muslims did not write anything new besides what is in the Talmud, but I found a Jewish archaeologist. He did a very good job in history of Musa based on archaeology facts, like based on tablets, based on what's, engraved on earth in a way. I'm just exploring his research, but I'm still going by the Quran word for word. Now, فَالْتَقَطَهُ. What is التقط? In the Arabic, like when you find someone who is smart or good, a teacher will say, I'm going to pick this one to give him a scholarship. Or if anyone in life, like even when you are having a farm, you see this tree is better than this tree, you're going to say, I picked this tree. So who picked him? Ala Fir'aun. Who's Ala Fir'aun? It's not his wife. It is whom? Fir'aun wa Hamana wa junudahuma. So Fir'aun was looking for adding to his soldiers, to his group. Ala Fir'aun. لِيَكُونَ لَهُمْ عَدُوًا وَحَزَنًا. So they picked him thinking he's going to join them. But the ayah says, كَانُوا خَاطِئِينَ. They were mistaken. They were wrong because he's not going to end up among his soldiers. If anything, we're going to see he's going to be learning from them. He's going to be a soldier, but he's going to turn against them. وَقَالَتْ إِمْرَأَةُ فِرْعَوْنَ. So now we can see after they have chosen him and they brought him to the castle, إِمْرَأَةَ فِرْعَوْنَ, the wife of Fir'aun, said, قُرَّةَ عَيْنٍ لِي وَلَكَ. لا تقتلوه. Basically, what is it? It's not like don't kill that child like we were told. Don't enslave him. Why? عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا وهم لا يشعرون. So she is saying we may just even use him as our own child, and they don't even feel anything. They have no idea where that the story will lead. موسى, it says, وأصبح فؤاد موسى فارغا. What is the fu'ad? I couldn't find the right translation, so I put heart brain, but really the right translation of fu'ad, I keep it now for fu'ad. Fu'ad is the part of our core that has the instincts, like the mother instinct is to nurture and to help and to feed and to do that. That's feminine energy. The father instinct is masculine energy, is to go out and, work and bring and provide. So that's the fu'ad. So as Musa Farigan is basically as if like she never received this inspiration. It's empty. And she almost was about to disclose, but it doesn't say to disclose him. لكانت لا تبدي به لا تبديه. It says به. It says by him. Basically, in a way, she could see like the potentials he has, and she almost gonna say something about him. لولا أن ربطنا على قلبها لتكون من المؤمنين. So you see the word مؤمنين comes again. So we had to strengthen her heart. So you see here it says heart, not fu'ad. That's what I said, there is a difference. The inspiration was to the heart, but the fu'ad has the instinct. So basically we had to inspire her again, strengthen her heart, and telling her like, have faith, he will be a messenger. Then she told his sister, وقالت لأخته قصيه, follow him. فبصرت به. So you see, it doesn't say فبصرته. The Arabic is very critical here. She watched by him. So basically, him and his sister were aware of each other. So he's no longer a Rabi'a like they told us. His sister was watching him by him guiding her. So he was also knowing his sister. That bihi is a very critical word here. عن جنب, from a side. وهم لا يشعرون, and they didn't feel the communication happening between Musa and his sister. وحرمنا عليه المراضع. See, the word حرمنا gives you the information that it's not nursing, because we don't say we prohibited just nursing. You can't prohibit nursing. It's an instinct to nurse. But prohibited the teaching. Al-Marada is the places like what they used to call Al-Marda, usually is a place like even in Algeria, in Biskra, like we have a town in Biskra where we call the places what kids go to memorize Quran, we call them a marda. Like you go there to be nurtured, and the first thing they nurture is make kids memorize the Quran. So it says, we prohibited him from other nurturers, like only the knowledge that is going to come from his mother, which she inherited the knowledge of whom? Of Ibrahim, because she's from Al Imran. They are the descendants of whom? Yusuf, Yaqub, all of that, coming from all the way from Ibrahim. Min qablu. So you see, it says min qablu. So before even Pharaoh picked him up, he was not exposed to any teacher but his mother. فقالت هل أدلكم, and see what his sister said is very critical. We have to stop at every word. على أهل بيت. Like she is saying, can I guide you, show you about the يكفلونه is take care of him. يكفلونه. We've seen يكفل about Maryam. And when Zechariah was about to do the kafala of Maryam, Maryam was already an older girl. Kafala is basically now you are at the age of learning, like you can take them to a boarding school. And that's where the kafala is. وَهُمْ لَهُ نَاصِحُونَ. You see the word nasiha here. It doesn't say وَهُمْ لَهُ مُرْضِعُونَ, for example. So what the sister is trying to say, this boy is kind of difficult to teach or to learn or to guide. So he's a rebellious boy, and they really loved him and they loved his personality. So she is saying, I can guide you to those who can really advise him. You don't advise an infant who is only what? Just got born, and you put him in a box and you don't advise him. That's a very critical word here. له ناصحون. Nasiha, we always know in Arabic, nasiha is you advise someone to listen and to do a good job. How can you advise an infant? Talk as much as you want. So this is also another critical word to help us to see what it means, al-yam and all of that. فَرَدَدْنَاهُ إِلَى أُمِّهِ. So raddada is now he's back to his mother. كي تقر عينها ولا تحزن ولتعلم أن وعد الله حق. So we took him back to his mother to comfort her, and she knows, like, yes, this is a true promise, because she's going to teach him the teaching of Ibrahim, and he is going to be a prophet and the messenger who inherited that. We're going to see how he was already a believer before he even left the castle. ولكن أكثرهم لا يعلمون. See, when you hear أكثرهم لا يعلمون, it's talking about the mass. Lots of people had no clue about Allah's way. It's a puzzle that you put together. ولما بلغ أشده واستوى آتيناه حكما وعلما. أشده is he reached his maturity. So واستوى. Istawa is became complete, integrated, became a whole. I mean, we saw it in the ayah Sawiya, like for the guy who came to Maryam, the Malak. He said Malak and Sawiya. Okay, when I will show you online, I tried to ask Mr. AI, what does it mean, Istawa? So let me look for it. I don't know if it was this one. What am I doing here? Yeah, I was like, no, that's Egyptian word. I really don't know where I found it. Yeah, I said, okay, complete human. I want something. And it says whole being, fully realized the human, integrated person. And why I'm insisting on this word istawa, now I'm going to show you. Because everything in the Quran, it's clarifying a book. Everything helps you to see other things. So I was in Surah Al-Qasas. فلما بلغ أشده واستوى آتيناه حكما وعلما وكذلك نجزي المحسنين. I think this ayah, when I was reading it, it's as if like something was telling me, you heard this before. And you know how I talk to my guides. And then I was guided to go open Surah Yusuf. I said, this is similar to what I saw in Yusuf. So you see Al-Qasas. This is Al-Qasas. Look at Yusuf. When they found Yusuf, okay, وَقَالَ الَّذِي اشْتَرَاهُ مِنْ مِصْرَ, and the one who bought him from Egypt said to his wife, honor his residency, أكرمي مثواه, عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا. Don't you see this is the same thing as this? Like Pharaoh went to his wife, okay, as a king, and he said, we want to benefit from him. Usually those kings, they don't pick just an infant. They pick someone who can benefit them, like they can see like he has potential. So that's the time when they took Musa. The time that they took Yusuf was the same thing. And it says, ولما بلغ أشده آتيناه حكما وعلما وكذلك نجزي المحسنين. Compare those two. The only difference is واستوى. Yusuf was already whole from childhood because he grew up with a prophet, Yaqub. So he was, and he saw that vivid vision. So he had a view about his journey. Versus Musa didn't see it. His mother was teaching him, but he needed to do some work. And that's the work that I'm talking, we're going to get to discover what work he had to go through to do. ولما بلغ أشده واستوى آتيناه حكما versus Yusuf ولما بلغ أشده آتيناه حكما وعلما same thing حكما وعلما حكما وعلما وكذلك نجزي المحسنين وكذلك نجزي المحسنين. I don't know, myself, I've seen a lots of beauty in that. And before I continue, I wanted to hear your comments about it. Do you have any comments about this? The comparison of the two.
It's I don't really have any coherent thoughts. It's really striking. I've never thought about Musa and Yusuf together in terms of their their parallel development and also their parallel path and the sense of like almost predestination, because both of them, they go through it. They go through it, and like the kind of difficulty that they both face. So much of the narratives that I've heard are oftentimes narratives of people that have had to almost face these things alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so that they're sort of in the wilderness of loss of family, and thrown into circumstances that seem like they're testing their spiritual mettle. This makes me feel like they were never alone,
Uh-huh.
and that they were always on the arc of a journey. And so it's just really striking. And
And we're never alone too.
yeah, yeah,
And you're never alone, and I'm never alone.
yeah.
Nasri, you have any comments about like how, but doesn't it show you it starts to push away that story of the Talmud, how he was an infant in a box and they throw him? We will see where she puts him. Where that aliyam that she's going to put him in is basically his journey. She's going to just let him be in the place where he's going to learn and he's going to grow. So she just had to deliver him and he came back. So they found him among the people and they saw his potential and then they picked him and they said, okay. And another word is as-sahil. And we'll get back to it. But I just wanted to show you those two to see like it's the stories are both happening in Egypt, it's both happening with kings, and it's all showing you no matter what kingship they get to, when there is injustice, the universe has its way to lead people to it. So now I'm going to continue with that document that I brought about the similarities of Musa. And in the same document, I went to Surah Al-Shu'ara just to show you like where the truth, you cannot find it by just taking a book that tells you the story of Musa. Most of it is from the Talmud. In Surah Al-Shu'ara, it says, وَإِذْ نَادَى رَبُّكَ مُوسَى, when your Lord, your Rabb, has called Musa. أَنْ أَأْتِ الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. So go to the tyrannical people, the oppressors. قَوْمِ فِرْعَوْنَ أَلَّا يَتَّقُونَ. These people of Fir'aun will not be, will not be aware. قَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي أَخَافُ. So you see where I'm trying to connect this to the word istawa. So Musa didn't heal yet. He is still have the fear. قال إني أخاف أن يكذبون ويضيق صدري. I'm still like, my chest, can be straight and my tongue is not articulate. ولا ينطلق لساني. When you have fear, sometimes you lose words. Anxiety can do a lot to you. فأرسل إلى هارون. So Musa is already a believer here and he's telling him, أرسل هارون. وَلَهُمْ عَلَيَّ الذَّنْبِ. I'm bringing this so you can see the word ذنب. He didn't say معصية. And he didn't say a sin, خطأ. And he didn't say سيئة. He said ذنب. Who can recall when I did Surah Ghafir? And I explained the ذنب. I said it's the previous wrongdoing upon him. What is previous wrongdoing? Dhanb, it's usually not only a collection of mistakes from one lifetime, but it's from so many lifetimes. So he is saying, there is a previous wrongdoing upon me, so I still have fear. فَأَخَافُ أَن يَقْتُلُونَ. I fear they will deprive me of life. That's what qatl means, is to deprive someone from their free will, from their life. قال كلا فاذهبا بآياتنا, and I will talk what are those ayat. I'm trying to prepare you to get you to what is this حية أو ثعبان. إنا معكم مستمعون. We are with you, listeners. So who are with you? The system. Allah wa malaikatuhu. So the whole system is working with Musa. فأتيا فرعون. So approach Fir'aun. فقولا إنا, we are رسول رب العالمين. رسول رب العالمين. A messenger of the Rabb of the world. So even though they are both of them, they're two, but the message is one. It came just one message. أنرسل معنا بني إسرائيل. That's the purpose. We want to take the children of Israel. What did Pharaoh tell him? That's why I wanted to get to the point. He was not an infant. Pharaoh told him, قال ألم نربك فينا وليدا. Did we not raise you among us as a child? He didn't say رضيعا. He didn't say طفلا. He said وليد, like a child. Usually when we say his walad and أولاد, we are talking about children. ولبثت فينا من عمرك سنين. And you stayed with us for many years. وفعلت فعلتك التي فعلت وأنت من الكافرين. And you did what you did, which we will see what he did when we continue with the story. قال فعلتها إذن وأنا من الضالين. I was astray. So why I'm bringing this? Just to tell you about the word istawa. What was the difference between Yusuf and Musa? You have here Yusuf, it says, when he reached maturity, we gave him hukman wa ilma. But here with Musa, it says wastawa. So he had to become a whole, to let go of what he's done because of being for so long at the castle of Pharaoh. He learned to be a soldier and he became strong. And that's why when he just hit that man, he caused death. And then he had to live with that guilt of killing someone. Does the story started to show a little? I mean, it's a long story, and I don't want to cover it all in one day, but I'm trying to just do it in bits of bits so that every time you view a video, you're getting one part. Does that make sense to you? Farzana, you came a little late, so you have to see the video. Any comments?
Oh, just fascinating.
No comments, no questions? So we go back to TaHa. Since you have no comments, no questions. I brought all these parts from Surah Al-Qasas and from Surah TaHa to explain that one ayah in TaHa, which is أَنِقْدِ فِيهِ فِي التَّابُوتِ. So convey him into the tabut. And what we said now, we know what's a tabut. Okay. فَقْدِ فِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ. So if you look at a tabut and al-yam, so send him and leave him, deliver him to the people that have the information. So basically, you can call them the rabbis, the teachers of religion. I don't want to say rabbis because they prove it now that there were no Jewish people in Egypt. So it was more of just Beni Israel. Beni Israel, like I told you, they're the survivors from the flood. So they were mostly Arabs and other tribes that spoke other languages, Aramaic and Assyrian, and the very beginners of Egyptians. But there were no Jewish there. That's what that Jewish historical guy is saying. Whether they were not there is those who had the information or the truth that is descending from Ibrahim, okay, just let him be with them. And that will lead him to his purpose. His purpose will, فَلْيُلْقِهِ, his purpose will deliver him to الساحل. The word sahel is facilitating side of something. And I'll dig into it in all the dictionaries. And this is the real common meaning of it. Like when we say Sahil al-Bahr, if you have to get to the ocean, you have to start from that side. So, but it facilitates to something. That's what it says. If you go to Maqayis, it says Sahala is to facilitate. So what the inspiration to the mother was, you gonna nurture him, you gonna teach him, he's gonna come back to you, and you were teaching him up to a certain age. At that age, just deliver him. And this delivery will lead him to be taken to his journey, which is Pharaoh will take him, and he becomes like one of his children, because that's what it says in Surah Al-Shu'ara. Didn't we take care of you as our child? So he become one of his children and one of his soldiers. Also, the word Sahel usually is a side of something to enter to. So he was basically the soldier who's watching the castle of Pharaoh, that Pharaoh took him as a son that he trusts. And then the ayah says, وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ مَحَبَّةً مِنِّي. So everyone who sees Musa loved him. And it says, وَلِتُصْنَعَ عَلَى عَيْنِي. You may be formed under my supervision. So he was guided, he was protected, and he was loved by everyone because he came to this earth with a purpose. That's ayah 39 of Surah TaHa. So now ayah 40. It here in Surah TaHa, ayah 40, it brings back what we saw in Surah Al-Qasas. إِذْ تَمْشِي أُخْتُكَ, when your sister was walking. فَتَقُولُ هَلْ أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى مَنْ يَكْفُلُهُ. I explained this in the previous ayah, which is who's going to take care of him. فَرَجَعْنَاكَ إِلَى أُمِّكَ كَيْ تَقَرَّ عَيْنَهَا, which is we took you back to your mother, and she doesn't grieve. And then it moves to وَقَتَلْتَ نَفْسًا, and that's what Pharaoh was telling him. And you did what you did. You killed someone. فَنَجَّيْنَاكَ مِنَ الْغَمِّ, so we saved you from the distress. وَفَتَنَّاكَ فُتُونًا. You see, when Musa had to go through so much fitna, so much testing, because you cannot be a leader unless you go through challenges. And through those challenges, Musa learned to become a whole, istawa again. I'm insisting on the word istawa, the difference between Musa and Yusuf. فَلَبِثْتَ سِنِينَ فِي أَهْلِ مَدْيَنَ. So we're going to have to do Madian in Surah Al-Qasas again. ثُمَّ جِئْتَ عَلَى قَدَرٍ يَا مُوسَى. You see, the qadr is a destination. He was predestined. All his life was predestined. Why? Because I made you for myself. I selected you to be well formed for myself. But he needed to do the work. So nobody became what they became, whether Muhammad, whether Musa, whether Isa, without going through the process of life, the challenges of life, and they do their own work, their own jihad to become leaders. I stop here because of lack of time. and open few minutes. I only have 5 more minutes for questions or comments. Any question or any comment? I don't see anything in the chat. Are you all puzzled, or you all understood, or you are all confused? At least say something.
Yeah. No, it's just, I think it's taking it in. It's again, it's kind of breaking up old narratives, and
Oh, yeah.
so just sitting with it, sitting with a different truth and the wisdom of it.
Yeah. And we didn't even get to now to the asa and to alqiha, that asa, because it's really the asa that took me to that journey. I mean, I was like, how come in one time they call it asa, is a serpent, it's hayya, and then they say taban is serpent. So really, that's the beginning of the journey. So I'm exploring the surah just like you do. And again, like I told you last time, I found this book that I had for ages, for 20 years. I read most of it until the last chapter. I never did. And it seems like everything comes in the right time. So when I opened it to read the last chapter, I was shocked to see Ibn al-Arabi has that view. In a way, I was happy to be having the same view of Ibn al-Arabi. But I was telling Khorm yesterday, I felt an ego, like, oh, I can, decode things just like Ibn al-Arabi. But of course, Ibn al-Arabi in this book did not give any details or any proofs. He just put some notes, which means we have to do the work to prove it ourselves. And I think you can find this book in English as well.
Yeah, what I'd said yesterday to Sister Fatima was, I think, is, ego aside, I think that, Ibn Arabi was an example of someone who received profound insight from their heart and not from their intellect
Yeah.
alone. And so I think that in that sense, it makes sense that you would have come to the same conclusion and understanding as Ibn Arabi, because that's where you're guiding us to listen to these insights from our hearts, listen to the Quran from our hearts.
Yeah, and the Quran really speaks to everyone. It's a living book. When you start to focus on it, you'll find it going to your heart. This narrative doesn't make sense to me. It's not really an intellectual thing. It's just your heart, your feeling is, it just doesn't make sense. And like I said yesterday to her, if it was a snake, why this snake didn't attack Pharaoh and end the story? Then everybody becomes a Muslim. And how come no one from thousands of people that were there watching a snake did not accept the call of Musa, except the 3 or 5, magicians? And all the others did not accept the call of Musa if it was a snake. So we will discover it was not a snake when next week, I hope. Okay? So you need to review this video again so that the new info can sink in. And hopefully next week, I cannot promise next week we will finish it, because every day I feel like, okay, I'm going to cover this to get to this. And I find, oh, how about this verse? How about this verse? But I think like it's just... I think Allah is teaching us the Quran is all connected. You cannot just go to one ayah or one surah and forget about the others. That's why it says رَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا, is put two and two together. Okay? That's how we get a good insight. Okay. Everybody is quiet. I understand. You just came from Thanksgiving. Everybody had a lots of turkey that affected the brain. It's about time to go to water fast or go to juice only to get you back to your spiritual mode. Okay. So inshallah, then I'll see you next week, inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.